A former medical malpractice client reveals a secret never before revealed. Would you like to learn what it was? Come join me. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial attorney practicing law here in the state of New York. Today I want to share with you an incredible letter that I received from a former client of mine involving a dental implant nightmare. The gentleman's name was Arthur Lawler, and in just a moment you're going to hear his exact words describe what happened to him and what appreciation he had for what I was able to accomplish. It's a fascinating look and an insight into the mind of a client who I was able to help. So come join me. Come in a little closer, because I want you to listen to hear exactly what he had to say. Now, the reason Arthur is not on video is because he recently suffered a stroke and is unable to get onto video. But instead, he sent me this letter that he wanted me to share with you. So come closer and pay attention, because it's a remarkable story. Dear Mr. Oginski, although a lot of time has passed since you handled my case, I want to leave this testimonial, which I hope you'll use in your advertising out of my appreciation. I'm a former client of Mr. Oginski. I would recommend him and his entire firm to anyone who is in need of a personal injury lawyer. Several years ago, I was facing a situation wherein a certain oral surgeon in Queens had painfully removed most of my teeth and never replaced them with implants and caps as promised. He simply closed shop and went into hiding. Being from Massachusetts, with the damage taking place in New York, I was faced with the dilemma of finding a competent lawyer 400 miles away. So he literally traveled 400 miles each way in order to get dental care with this particular dentist. It turns out that the dentist destroyed his entire mouth and his life as well. After many calls, I came to find literally no lawyers willing to take on a lawsuit against an oral surgeon. At this point, I had lived 2 years unable to chew the foods I liked. The only time I smiled was when I was alone. Finally, out of desperation, I put my story into an email and sent it to exactly 100 lawyers whose ads I had read on the internet. Of all these, only 10 contacted me. 2 of these took the time to explain to me why no lawyers had contacted me, which basically was because that in cases against oral surgeons and dentists, a jury almost always takes the side of the doctor. To them, I was a losing proposition. With the exception of Mr. Oginski, of the other 98 lawyers, I was more a statistic than a suffering human in need of expertise. Of all the replies I did receive, only Mr. Oginski seemed to show any compassion for the pain I had suffered and was at the time suffering. Upon deciding to choose Mr. Oginski to represent me, throughout the entire process, Mr. Oginski was extremely professional and especially understanding to me and my wife's aggravation and irritation at the slowness of the court system, and always spoke in terms of a positive future outcome. Mr. Oginski won a very substantial settlement on my behalf, and ultimately, my mouth and teeth were repaired with enough left over to pay all of our debts, including our mortgage. Now he continues on with this story. Because of all the stress our family had suffered, we decided to go on a well-deserved vacation. Upon getting home, I suffered a stroke, which has left me half paralyzed, and am now confined to a wheelchair and collecting disability, but can now always cherish the last vacation together as a family. I can only imagine how bad off me and my family would be now had it not been for Mr. Oginski. I sincerely recommend to anyone seeking a compassionate and extremely professional and knowledgeable personal injury lawyer to contact Mr. Oginski's firm first and immediately, saving yourself the aggravation of speaking to the other 98%. Thank you once again, Mr. Oginski. Thanks to your efforts and knowledge of the law, our situation turned from a tragedy to a miracle, where now, despite my disability, my wife can afford to take care of me at home rather than my being confined in a nursing home at the age of 53. For many years, I wondered to myself how, if ever possible, could God explain to me why I was being allowed to suffer as I had under that dentist's care. Now, thanks to the money settlement you negotiated, I now feel I understand why things went the way they did, being that now I'm comforted, knowing that should anything happen to me, my wife could financially manage to maintain her current lifestyle with no debts or mortgage, and in the meantime, I am at home versus wasting away in a nursing home. I'm serious and sincere in telling you that you have been part of a grand miracle, which has not only helped restore my mouth, but in some ways restored my faith in the Lord. I hope you are doing well and would be happy to talk to you anytime, but have trouble typing. If I could be of any help creating a testimonial for your newsletter. Sincerely, Arthur Lawler in Massachusetts. Arthur, I really want to thank you so much. It was a wonderful and remarkable letter. And for those of you who are watching this video, chances are you have questions and concerns about your own particular matter. Well, one of the things that I recommend you do is, if you have legal questions, what I want you to do is pick up the phone and call. I answer legal questions like yours every single day. Now, why do I share this remarkable story with you and Arthur's testimonial done so many years later? One of the reasons why it's important for you to read about and learn about Arthur and people like him is that social proof is very dramatic. Social proof is very compelling to show you what other people have gone through and how I've been able to help them over the course of time with their litigation problem. And one of the key things when you have a testimonial like this is it gives you an insight and an understanding in what somebody else went through and what we were able to do to help them. Now, there's never a guarantee, and no attorney can ever predict exactly what's going to happen, and no one can ever promise you what the outcome will be. But the first step for you is to consider, number one, whether or not you have a valid case. And number two, once you get the information about whether you may have a valid case, you then have to decide what to do next. And so, if you have questions, what I encourage you to do is pick up the phone and call me. This is what I do every single day. And you can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at lawmed10@yahoo.com. I'm Gerry Oginski here in New York. Thanks for watching.